So here's what was said on First Take earlier today. And yeah, it's shaking things up. The Knicks might not be done just yet. After a huge offseason so far, they're apparently working behind the scenes to make one more unexpected move. And this one? It's catching a lot of people off guard. According to what's being discussed on First Take, league insiders have revealed that the Knicks are not only exploring a new addition, they are now actually the favorites to sign Ben Simmons. Yes, Ben Simmons in free agency. The move isn't just speculation anymore. Sources close to the situation say it's real, and that the Knicks front office believes it could be finalized very soon. It's been reported by multiple outlets, including updates cited during today's show, that New York is planning to offer Simmons a veteran minimum contract. And while that's not exactly breaking the bank, the potential impact of this move is causing a lot of buzz. The Knicks still had one of those vet minimum deals available, and according to insiders, they were simply waiting for the right player. Well, that wait might finally be over. What First Take pointed out is that both Boston and New York had previously been exploring Simmons, but after Boston locked in Chris Boucher yesterday, the door apparently swung wide open for the Knicks. They're now being called the front-runners to land Simmons, and there are even betting odds to support that. Speaking of which, First Take also highlighted data from FanDuel. Yes, the same FanDuel that regularly updates NBA odds, and even they now list the Knicks as the leading candidate to sign Simmons. Let that sink in. The Knicks, with all the moves they've already made this offseason, are this close to adding Ben Simmons to the mix. And look, whether you like the idea or not, that's a major development. Now, naturally, this raises a very real question, one that was debated directly on First Take. Why Ben Simmons? Of all the players still on the market, why is New York seriously entertaining this? What's the motive? Who's pushing for this behind closed doors? Well, First Take brought up something really interesting. According to their sources, newly hired Knicks head coach Mike Brown may be one of the people driving this. Apparently, Mike Brown was a big supporter of Simmons when he was coaching the Kings. He was reportedly pushing hard to bring Simmons to Sacramento last year, but that never happened. Now in New York, Brown may be seeing a second chance, and this time, he might just get his guy. NBA insider Brandon "Scoop" B. Robinson, whose insights were referenced during the show, added even more context. According to him, there's mutual interest between Simmons and the Knicks. It's not just a one-way street. Simmons reportedly sees New York as an appealing fit, and the Knicks are at least seriously entertaining the idea. So this isn't just some wild rumor. This is gaining momentum. What's interesting is that Scoop B also shared some of the internal thinking behind this, why Brown and the Knicks staff might actually value what Simmons brings. According to what was said on First Take, it comes down to a combination of defensive versatility, court vision, and, believe it or not, shooting. Yeah, that last one sparked a lot of reactions. Because let's be honest, when you hear someone try to sell you on Ben Simmons' shooting, you have to do a double take. That's not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when his name pops up. If we're being real, Simmons has never been known for his shot. Far from it. But what First Take clarified is that it's not about jumpers or long-range scoring. It's about decision-making, facilitating, and defensive switchability. That's what Mike Brown sees value in. Simmons still has real tools. He can handle the ball, he can guard 4 positions, he can create for others, and he rebounds well. And in the right role, especially off the bench, those skills can still make a difference. But this is where the debate really heated up on the show. Because once you dig into the basketball fit, things get a little more complicated. The biggest issue? Spacing. If Simmons signs with the Knicks, and they run lineups where he shares the floor with someone like Mitchell Robinson, who also isn't a shooter, the offense suddenly becomes much more congested. That was pointed out directly on First Take, and it's a legitimate concern. 2 non-shooters on the floor in today's NBA can limit what you can run offensively, especially if you're trying to space the floor and create driving lanes for players like Brunson or Mikal Bridges. The show also touched on lineup construction. What 3 players are you surrounding Simmons and Robinson with to balance that floor? Can it work? Is there enough shooting around them to cover that liability? The Knicks have shooters, sure, but asking them to consistently bail out lineups that feature two non-threats from the perimeter is asking a lot. And for those of you who followed my breakdowns of the Knicks over the past few seasons, you know I haven't been the biggest believer in Simmons' fit here. That hasn't changed. Even with the defensive upside, the rebounding, the occasional playmaking flash, there are questions, legitimate ones, because when he's on the floor, he changes the dynamic of what you can do offensively. But to be fair, and this was emphasized by multiple voices on First Take, the Knicks aren't signing Simmons to be a star. They're not even signing him to be a starter. This is about adding depth, versatility, and maybe giving Mike Brown the kind of chess piece he didn't have in Sacramento. It's a low-risk, high-upside play. A minimum deal. No long-term commitment. But it still changes how this team might look next season. So that's where things stand right now. According to everything said on First Take this morning, the Knicks are on the verge of signing Ben Simmons. And whether you think it's a good move or a mistake, it's hard to deny. It's bold. It's unexpected. And if nothing else, it's going to be interesting to watch. Now listen, you've heard my take plenty of times, and I've made it clear. I don't think Ben Simmons is a fit for this Knicks squad. I really don't. But maybe it's not about my opinion today. Maybe it's about what some other voices around the league are saying, real analysts, insiders with sources, and what they're revealing about this situation. Let's talk about James L. Edwards from The Athletic, who weighed in on this very topic in his latest mailbag. A fan asked him straight up, is Ben Simmons really on the Knicks' radar? Is this something they're seriously pursuing? And Edwards didn't hold back. He confirmed what we've been hearing across the board. The Knicks have discussed Simmons, especially with that open minimum roster spot they're holding on to. That means, if you're counting, that's at least 4 different respected NBA insiders confirming this interest from New York. 4. And we're not just talking rumors in the wind. We're talking credible league sources pointing to the Knicks as the frontrunners to bring Simmons in on a vet minimum deal. This isn't smoke anymore. There's fire here. But then, James L. Edwards added something that should give everyone pause. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "You're really going to design a custom offense around a backup point guard who doesn't even want to look at the basket? That's not just questionable. It's dangerous. It means that adding Simmons could complicate the entire Knicks system. His lack of scoring aggressiveness, the fact that he actively avoids shots, it forces your whole offense to adjust just to accommodate one guy who may only play 10 to 15 minutes a night. And remember, New York already has guys like Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson, who aren't known for spacing the floor. Throw in Ben Simmons, and suddenly you've got 3 non-shooters in a 5-man lineup. That's a nightmare for spacing. You're trying to run a 5-out system this year? Good luck doing that with Simmons dragging gravity away from the rim. That dream dies the minute you send him to the scorer's table. I know some fans are still holding out hope. Hey, maybe he just needs a change of scenery. Or he's still young. He was an all-star. But we've seen that story before. Remember when the Sixers traded him to Brooklyn? Everyone said he'd be reborn. They'll fix him. What happened? Nothing changed. In fact, he played less, not more. And now the idea is that the Knicks are going to be the team to finally unlock him? Let's stop pretending that this is about potential. Let's talk results. Simmons hasn't played a full season in years. The injuries? Still a concern. His confidence? Still shattered. And now you're telling me that a franchise with real momentum, finally headed in the right direction, is about to throw this guy into the mix? And here's the craziest part. The Knicks don't need him. Not even close. In fact, FanDuel, the sportsbook that puts money where its mouth is, just listed the Knicks as one of the top 3 teams to win the 2025 NBA Cup. Let that sink in. Without Ben Simmons, without another splashy signing, the odds makers are already projecting the Knicks as legit contenders. According to the odds, it's OKC, the Knicks, and the Cavs leading the pack. New York is listed at plus 550 to take home the NBA Cup. That puts them ahead of teams like the Celtics, the Nuggets, even the Suns. The only teams with shorter odds? OKC and maybe Cleveland. That means the Knicks, as currently built, are already in a position to have one of the best regular season records in the league. So here's my thing. Why risk that chemistry? Why throw a wrench into a system that's finally working? You're not bringing in a star-level Simmons here. You're not getting 2019 Simmons. You're getting a guy who's barely been on the court for the last 3 seasons, and instead of looking for someone who can enhance spacing, someone who complements Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, we're talking about Ben Simmons? If they really want to make a move, go find a wing who can stretch the floor. Go get a vet who's not going to clog the paint and cause defensive collapse. You're trying to be a modern NBA offense? Adding Simmons is like trying to run a Tesla on diesel. It just doesn't work. Look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Simmons proves everyone wrong and rediscovers that early career spark. But if we're being real, that's a massive if. And for a Knicks team that's finally earned some respect around the league, this just feels like an unnecessary gamble. So yeah, according to every source, Simmons to New York looks like it's going to happen. But if it does, don't say I didn't warn you.